Hi, my name's Kelly Cowan, and I'm here to welcome you to MBI 361, which is epidemiology. It's January 2017, and here's hoping that 2017 is going to be a lot better than 2016. I'm recording this the day after Christmas, which is also the day after George Michaels died, and I'm just saying 2017's got to be better. Among other things, in 2016, I got braces again for the second time in my life, and I'm hoping that in 2017 I'll get them off, maybe before the end of this course, so I'll send you a picture. Well, let me get started with epidemiology. Some of you I've had before for microbiology courses, and some of you I have not. My teaching philosophy is pretty consistent. I base what I do in the classroom or in this little box on two major principles. One, it's research-based, meaning research on the science of teaching and learning. So I try to do things that the research has shown are effective for you, the students, and not just do what has always been done. The second thing I base my teaching philosophy on is relationships. Really rigorous science shows us that at all ages, from kindergarten through high school, through college, through graduate school, that the neural pathways in your brain work better at retaining information, entertaining critical thinking, if you have an established relationship either with your fellow learners or with your instructor, and preferably both. So I know that's difficult a thing to talk about relationship when we're all in an online course. Many of us do not know one another and will never meet one another. But we're going to do our best, and I'll explain how that is going to be soon. In a relationship, there are expectations. So you can have expectations of me, and I will have expectations of you. And those are pretty much spelled out in the Getting Started document, also called the syllabus, on the front of your course page. The expectations you can have of me are that I always do what I say I'm going to do in the syllabus. And I know that's not true for everyone. Every instructor has a different style, but I really encourage you to excavate the whole Getting Started, the whole syllabus, because what I say in there, I mean, and I'll meet those expectations. If I say I'm going to check email twice a day, every day, that's what I'm going to do. If I say I am going to give you the following resources, I will do it. So the one thing you can expect from me is consistency. The other thing you can expect from me is my sincere desire for you to succeed. And the expectations of you are not that different than any other class. I will tell you that I am a stickler for deadlines. You will see that if you are late, every day you're late, you lose a certain percentage of your points. Basically, it's not just me being lazy, although there is some laziness there. It means I don't have to entertain any of the excuses for what's gone wrong, etc. So we're all advanced students at this point, and we know to plan ahead and make sure you have a plan B in case the wheels fall off your car or your life. So deadlines are deadlines. Okay, just a couple of minutes about specifics of the course. One of the ways that I follow the research in teaching and learning is that I teach from objectives that are stated right up front. And the objectives come not from the opening page of the chapter of the book, although you will see some there. I have selected some of the objectives, and I do that in a process I call reverse engineering, which means I look at what you need to take away from this module, and in a larger sense from this course, and then I design activities that will meet those objectives. And it's amazing how long teachers have done it just the opposite way, because we get a textbook and we open it up and we say, okay, we're going to go through chapter 1, then we're going to go through chapter 2, never really imagining at the end of this course, this is what I want you to take away. And so that reverse engineering results in the objectives that I give you for the course and the objectives that I'll give you every week for every module. I can tell you right now that one of my major objectives, and it's always been this way, I've taught epidemiology for 20 some years. Probably when I taught it last time, I had my first set of braces. But in all of these years, one of the major emphases in epidemiology has been how to assess information that you read. And as you know, the issue of fake news and fake science has really exploded in the past 6 months or so. And this is a course in which we are going to dig deep into the scientific method. What are your sources? What are the sources that the media story told you, etc. So that's one great big overarching objective for the course. All right. Moving on to one of my least favorite topics, and that's the textbook, which is the 6th edition of Merrill's Introduction to Epidemiology. Now, I'm going to tell you, and I feel like I can say that it's like you can talk about your own parents, but you can't talk about your in-laws. Since I'm a textbook writer, I'm going to say this is an okay book. And I have been looking for a great epidemiology book for 20 some years and haven't found it. However, you do need a reference guide of some sort. And I don't mean I'm only going to be using this text as a reference. What I'm going to do is pick and choose readings from the book that actually will be helpful and assign those to you. And we're not going to read it cover to cover. You will see as you start the modules that I have, like the first chapter, I'm going to have you read the whole thing because it's an overview and we all need an overview, right? But as we go through the chapters, I will just be asking you to do what I call targeted reading, which means you look at the objectives, which I have just described as being so expertly chosen. You look at the objectives and read the portions in the book that are useful for that objective. Now, I wouldn't ask a 100 level course to do this, but I will ask my 300 level students to be able to discern in the textbook what you're going to want to read. And it'll be very clear when you watch the presentation that I give for each week. So we won't be reading the whole book, but we'll be reading important parts of it. And we will be reading a lot of news stories, science journalism, and even some primary science research papers. So this is a fair warning. We're going to be doing a lot of reading. It's absolutely necessary for this kind of class. If you're a super slow reader or if you have a super tiny, cramped schedule, it could present problems to you, but I'm hoping that by knowing it in advance, you'll be able to plan for it and make sure you have enough cushion in your week to do the readings. As I say in the syllabus, I'm expecting you to do between 8 and 9 hours of work a week on this course, which is what, if you remember back to your freshman orientation, teachers tell you, you spend the 3 hours in course in a face-to-face course. And then for every hour in your seat, you spend 2 hours out of class time. Now, when you're in 100 level courses, you probably didn't do that and probably didn't have to. And in fact, if I was holding by that formula, you would be spending 12 hours a week in this course. But I'm counting the time, since we don't have seat time, we're just going to throw it into 8 or 9 hours a week, more or less, depending on how quickly you do things like read and do assignments. My favorite part of this course is the discussion board. I'm using the discussion board in this online course in a fairly prescriptive way. We don't have group work, group assignments. Yes, you're welcome. But the way I want us to build relationship and also a more robust learning style is by speaking to one another in our discussion boards. And I've had very good results. Of Of course, it doesn't matter whether I've had very good results, but my students have had great results with this in online courses. So the only other thing I can think of is that I'm going to let you dive into the course, going to give it your college try, and if it doesn't work out, the first drop day is February 9th. That's to drop without a grade. We'll have 2 modules under our belt by then. And I don't say that, in the old, look to your left, look to your right, one of you will be gone by midterm. That is not the case at all. You'll all be here if you choose to be, and I'm not trying to intimidate you. In fact, I'm absolutely certain that you will find value in this course and that you can succeed if you have enough time in your life to do it, which is not to say it's your whole life. I understand that. I understand that some people in this world have lives. Okay. So anytime you want to contact me by email, and if it's an emergency by phone, you are welcome to do so. Just because I am not in front of you once or twice a week, I am still, let's say, I'm standing here behind you. So I want to help, and I want to field your questions, and if you have technical difficulties, I'll try to help you with those too. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the internet.